Alright boys, so after only spending about an hour in the DZ, only doing a couple of the landmarks, maybe a dozen or more, guess what finally dropped for me? Oh yeah, baby, I got a pesty. Yeah. Oh, is that not what I'm looking for? Alright, I guess I'm gonna be doing some more farming in the DZ, baby. Alright, anyway, let's be honest here for a second. I know plenty of you do not like the DZ. It's just the nature of the beast. Whether it's because the DZ is kind of terrible, or whether it's because you're in the PvE only crowd and the never DZ crowd, I gotcha. But what I am here today to kind of talk about is maybe you should actually try it. Look, I know you're gonna be like, no, I don't go into the DZ, I don't PvP. Hear me out here for a second, okay? If I was in the DZ for a couple hours, I was farming it and never seeing a sign of rogue activity, what does that mean? Well, right now is a great opportunity for you to get in there and try to farm. Now look, I'm not saying that every server is going to be completely 100% PvP free, but it is entirely possible with a couple attempts. Server changing, switching DZs, logging in and out a couple of times, just trying over and over again. Maybe in 30 minutes, you might find a server in the dark zone that is PvP free, right? Most people, everyone and their mother, is kind of trying to farm this stuff in the DZ. Or I guess I should say, the people that are in the DZ are the people that are mostly solo only players. They don't do the raids and they want these exotic items. So this means that a lot of players aren't really going around ganking. This means that most people are just focused on farming, trying to do these landmarks as fast as possible so that they could hopefully potentially get one of these things and get it extracted. And what this means is most of them aren't looking to fight you. Now again, do your switching back and forth between different dark zones. Look in the dark zone for about 5 minutes before you really do anything. See if there's any rogue activity. And if not, if there's no rogue activity, look, partake. Go clear some landmarks. And here's a helpful piece of advice. Even if there is some sort of rogue activity, you can go to an extraction point and, just kind of wait. Like you don't have to, necessarily put your loot in a bad spot, right? And if something shady kind of looks like it's going down, you can always run back to a checkpoint. Or, you don't even have to go to the extraction. Just go to a checkpoint, wait for maybe some friends or something to get on. Who knows? Maybe wait for a better time, a different server, if you did happen to find something. I mean, look, there's plenty of creativity that can be had to safely extract things that you want to extract. And while there's plenty of advice that I could give you in this regard as to, make it safer for you, what I really want to do in this video is just, one, say that, look, there is plenty of PvE only potential in these servers right now, okay? If you wait like another week or two, there might be a lot of people who've gotten eagle bears or have gotten bored of it and are just trying to, gank anyone extracting. Right now, everyone's focused on getting their own loot and extracting. So this provides a good potential for you to find PvE only activities. On the flip side, if you wait again, you wait another week, this might not be the case. It might be filled with more PvP players because obviously it's flooded with PvE people looking for this gear. So it is a good time and it would definitely benefit you to get in there sooner rather than later, especially if you just don't want to be in the DZ because there's a potential for PvP. Right now that potential is a lot lower than it was before Season 11. Now, of course, the other thing that I kind of want to talk about is just what should you be using in the Dark Zone? What is something that could guarantee you a good level of success? Now, of course, every situation's different, and you can't just say there's one size fits all kind of builds for the Dark Zone. You can run whatever you want, but I think what I'm using currently, or at least what I'm using in the Dark Zone, is a great gateway drug for a lot of players who are looking to farm this stuff in the DZ. Now, this isn't a extremely flashy build. This isn't like the epitome of, PvP builds, because it's not really designed for that. Actually, it's designed mostly to survive and escape and basically just keep your loot, right? That's the whole point. That's why a lot of people don't like the Dark Zone, because they don't want to lose the stuff that they worked for. So this build is going to give you what I would say is a higher chance of success from, just the random gankers, or, giving you a heads up to any sort of shenanigans going on, giving you the ability to get out of there before bad stuff can basically find you. So I think I've aptly named this build my DZ Farmer build. And this is pretty simple. Now, I am using the Tactician, and that's just for the extra skill tier. And the weapons that I am using for this build are the Lady Death and the Kingbreaker. Now, it's really no secret why I'm going to be using these weapons. One, the Lady Death is a great first engagement kind of weapon, right? It gives you that huge amplified damage boost just because you are running, right? So the first magazine that you have is going to be a lot of damage. The secondary weapon that I'm using is the Kingbreaker, and obviously this is because it gives you that 20% amplified damage to pulse targets. This is kind of the key, because pulse is incredibly helpful. You don't need to use the actual laser pointer with the Tactician. You could put in like crit chance or something. But I do like the laser pointer on there because it just, it's kind of my main weapon, and if I just happen to not pulse at the right time, I still have the ability to pulse the enemies that I'm shooting at. But I'm using this build because I want pulse as fast as I can. So to do that, I've got the Night Watcher Gilligard named Mask. Now this gives me that 100% scanner pulse haste, which is pretty decent for this build. Now, it's not going to save you all the time, but the more often you can pulse, obviously the easier it is to see enemies coming at you and detect other players. Now I've got the Memento, and obviously this is a great piece for anybody running solo, and especially anyone farming gear, because obviously you're going to be farming, you're going to be killing enemies, you're going to be collecting these mementos, and you're going to be getting huge buffs. The second piece is going to be a Cheska Varoba. Obviously this one is more of a damage focused piece, and the talent on that though is going to be Unbreakable. Of course, Unbreakable comes in really handy because that means that you get a little bit less squishy. It's kind of an oh crap thing. You get to survive if somebody jumps you for a little bit longer. Hopefully it's enough for you to actually get away, do some defensive maneuvering, that kind of stuff. It's only 50% in the DZ, but it's better than nothing, okay? Getting that 50% armor back after they drop your armor is still better than nothing. Now, like I said, this is a farmer build, so I have a couple other pieces that aid in that farming mentality, right? Brazos gives me that skill tier, but with the Picaro holster, it also gives me that weapon damage. And of course, it comes with armor cores, which is always fantastic. And I do have a little bit of status effects on these. Now, status effects isn't incredibly important, but it does help a little bit, and I'll explain that, at least my mentality with the status effects, here in a second. Now, the last piece I have is going to be just my Bellstone Armory knee pads, and of course, those are just there to provide extra armor repair, so your armor regen, and that's pretty much the main focus on those ones. Now, I haven't rolled them explicitly because I don't really know, if I want. I hate messing with pieces if I don't really know what I'm going to, do with them. Hazard protection on there might not be necessary. Maybe you want some crit damage or crit chance or something like that. But however you want, that's up to you. That's kind of a iffy roll on there. But the main focus of this build is pulse and the hive. All right. So obviously I'm pulsing to see anything around me, so I can kind of get a feel for the, potential for danger. So, not only does it help me use my pulse on my Kingbreaker, but it does allow me to see potential PvP engagements. Okay, so if I see one or two guys skulking around a corner waiting for me at an extraction point, I know I should probably get out of there. If I can constantly see enemies or constantly see players and can kind of avoid them, or if I see that they're following me, like I can look through the wall and see that they're just constantly circling where I'm going, then I know, okay, it's probably time to dip out. And of course, if I don't actually have anything good, who cares? I can wait, whatever. It doesn't matter. I can see if they're actually going to go rogue, if they're just, looking to team up or something. Who knows? But if you did have something good, you'd always want to take the extra cautious approach and just avoid everyone in the area, right? You signal for that extraction chopper, you see somebody coming, a lot of people, if they're making a beeline for your extraction chopper, generally, if you have anything good, I wouldn't even risk it. Just leave. Or hang on the outskirts and see what they're doing, right? If they stay there right at the extraction point the entire time, then maybe that's a sign to get out of there, okay? If they are just running through and leave, then maybe you should go back. That's the benefit of having the pulse constantly up. You can constantly use it. Now, for the Stinger Hive, the reason that I'm using that is actually kind of like a delaying tactic. If I do get into an engagement, a rogue tries to attack me or steal my loot, what I can do is I just drop the hive and run. Now, of course, if he's got 100% hazard protection on, he's probably not the biggest threat. He's probably not going to be doing massive amounts of damage. So it's not really a huge worry with, that aspect. Of course, if they have hazard protection, yeah, it's not going to do what I want, but they're not the biggest danger. However, if they are, kind of like a glass cannon type build or a real squishy, I'm going to jump you kind of build, being able to put the Stinger Hive down, apply bleed to them, get them to kind of like roll away, like rethink what they're doing, slow them down with the bleed so that they can't follow you as quickly. Of course, this just allows you to get away better, right? And if you've been farming, you got that regen, roughly about 4% armor regen from the Memento and from the Bellstone Armory. And of course, this gives you the ability to survive. So, when you combine Unbreakable with your regen, with the ability to detect enemies, with the ability to basically put down this hive and use it as kind of like your escape platform, so they're not going to, maybe they'll follow you, or maybe they'll stop and shoot it, or maybe they'll try to run through it and they'll get bleed on them. Either way, whatever they decide to do, it's going to delay them. And only way it's not going to delay them is if they have like a perfectly timed EMP, but that'll still take, a few feet off of their ability to chase you, because obviously they have to slow down to use it. They will also, if they have like 100% hazard protection, they're not going to be able to do huge amounts of damage to you, necessarily right off the jump. So that'll kind of, I guess, save some of the potential danger there. But anyway, yeah, this is kind of a build I would suggest if you are looking to, test your feet in the Dark Zone. The one thing that you don't really need too much, you don't need a huge amount of weapon damage on a build in the Dark Zone. Yes, of course, it's nice to, blow through these landmarks as fast as possible. Of course, that's always nice. However, the enemies are only like challenging difficulty. Some of them might be a little bit harder than that, but they're really not that dangerous. A build like this, once you get it fully buffed up with your armor regen, you're not really going to have too much problems with anything you encounter. I mean, you're still going to be doing pretty good damage with your, Lady Death and your Kingbreaker. I mean, those are putting out some pretty good damage. But again, the focus of this is not on speedrunning the content. The focus of this is being able to survive and potentially make a hasty retreat if need be. So that's what this potential build does for you. That's what this allows you to do, get away and survive and kind of, live to extract another day. Basically like that. So anyway, yeah, get into the DZ, try it out. Try to find a PvE only server. I know PvP can happen anytime, anywhere, but right now it seems to be less likely than it'll probably be sometime soon in the future. So the sooner you get in there, the sooner you try to get an Eagle Bear or whatever the other one is. I forget. But, look, you're going to encounter plenty of players. A lot of them might just be farming as well. And if you stick in a group of farmers, it looks like a bunch of random people all running together, which is kind of what I did, actually. We just started farming these landmarks all together, just a big gaggle. Everyone just kept running landmark to landmark. And we did it quick and easy. And, running in a, if you go into the Dark Zone solo, it is generally, I guess, likely that you're going to be matched with other solos. Now, of course, once you get in there, you could find groups, it's entirely possible. But if you're all running solo and then you're all kind of just like, okay, let's just all follow each other like, like a flock of geese or something, then you kind of have like herd protection where a single, bad actor, a single rogue, he's probably not just going to like jump in there and, take out everyone. I mean, it's entirely possible that he could, but usually he's looking for the weaker targets, something to pick off. So by sticking in a bigger group, you again make it less likely that you're going to be the one that gets picked off. You make it a little bit easier for yourself to get away in case you get focused on. Then you can actually just kind of run through the crowd and potentially not die that way. So I mean, look, there's plenty of things you can do. You have to test it out. You have to see what kind of dark zone you guys can get into, and look, just give it a try. I mean, I know plenty of you are like, no, I'm never going in there. But right now might be the best chance that you actually have to enter a dark zone that is kind of PvE only. I mean, it's not strictly PvE only, but you do have a chance that it is. So I would highly recommend that you guys give it a try. But anyway, guys, I hope you give it a try. I hope you get some of these exotics in the dark zone. Don't let it just kind of be a missed opportunity for you. If you're, are a solo only player, you don't like the raids, you don't, you avoid all this other content, you don't want to do the DZ, like now is the perfect time to attempt to get into a PvE only DZ that you desire. Hurry up, don't miss the opportunity because it's going to be short-lived. But thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.